Hey, our friends. This is an exciting one because it has to do with the fear of risk.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is huge because we as humans live in this mainly every day in certain components. So, not in just one specific thing, because our brains, unfortunately, create a lot of fears that actually aren't even real. And again, comparing it to a horse, that we know the one brain of that horse is thinking, what can kill me? What can harm me? But that's a true fear because they're a prey animal. But us as humans and our ability to use our brain, sometimes not an advantage for us. But this is going to be short and sweet because you all hear it. You hear all the time, feel the fear and do it anyways. Or, fear is just a part of getting out of your uncomfortable spot.
Mm-hmm.
And all those pieces are absolutely true. But, we're talking about the certification with the Equine Connection, whether it be the certification with business training, free support and training for the life of your career, or the certification only that does not include anything business, because maybe you're helping someone else or you've already got an equine business already started and you just don't need all of those other components. But this is really important to understand the risk that is taking place in this fear, because there's always going to be a fear piece, because it has to exist in us as humans. But I think a lot of the times when we can get it under control, kind of like anxiety, or when we're nervous and we can learn the breathing tool to be able to bring that heart rate back down again, we have to start figuring out, through this fear as being a risk, really what's the worst thing that's going to happen. And this is where you get your paper and your pen out. What's the worst thing that will happen if you make an investment into yourself and you learn 100 bazillion times more information than you thought possible to do with the horse? What will that look like if the worst thing that happens is your business goes nowhere?
And that's, I think, the biggest difference between a horse fear and a human fear. Horse fear is in the now. That coffee cup right now could murder them. Right? That could happen in this instant. Our fears are always the future fears, a lot of the time, right? Like, pay attention to the now fears if you're in a dark alley, obviously.
Yeah.
But ours are always the what ifs. Well, what if I fail? What if I don't make it? What if I don't do it right? What if I don't know how? What if I'm not as good of a facility? Like, there are a thousand what ifs that you can come up with in your head. But a lot of times we take that to the negative instead of, well, what if I soar? What if I get to make a difference in one person's life that changes everything for them? These are the what ifs that we need to focus on, because that's what can help combat fear. It's not just the negative pieces of what can happen if something doesn't work out the way we thought it was going to, and really what things do. But it's the what could happen to us that's great, that we need to focus on in a different way, versus the what if something's bad's going to happen. And something bad could always happen, absolutely,
every day.
When you cross the street, when you get on a plane, all of those, there's what ifs with all of those pieces. But the what if, you have to kind of get to a different place that you can think of the what ifs on the positive side of things as well. So you're not just stuck in the scary, the fear, the immobilizing piece of it. What's going to move you forward through that fear that makes it all worthwhile?
I so agree. And it's truly like, really think about, what is the worst thing that would happen if you paid $5,000, $7,000? What's the worst fear that would happen? And make that your number one thing. I know for myself, and we're going to have a different way of looking at this. So for me, anytime I spent money on investing in myself, and to start this business, I spent $12,000, and that was how many years? 17? 2008.
Yeah.
So if you think about how long ago that was, 12,000 was it's probably worth $1 million. Who knows nowadays, right?
There's some inflation.
Yeah, there's some inflation, but any hoodle. So, at that time, my whole thing is, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? Mine was, I could lose the money. Like, I could invest the money in myself and then lose it. But see, now my brain automatically, as I even write it down, it said, but you wouldn't let that happen. So mine with money wouldn't let it happen. So then I was still realistic and logical. I said, but okay, what if though, again, the worst thing, can you really afford $12,000 right now? And of course, the answer is always no. So anytime you spend money, the answer is always no, because it's a ton of money. It could buy you, well, some bread and milk now, right?
The grocery store these days,
right?
Pretty much it.
So, it's hugely important, but I thought, okay, so worst comes to worst, I spend this 12,000. Nobody understands it. I don't go anywhere with this business. I will learn more about myself. So I thought that's a win. So the worst thing, I will go get a job. So for me, that's a heartbreak because I don't like to work for other human beings on this earth. I don't care who you are. I don't want to work for you because I love freedom, and I love freedom so much that I want to be my own boss and I want to make my own decisions. I want to do my own vacation time. I don't want to ask for permission to do things. So that was huge. So now I'm looking at it. If the worst thing happened at $12,000, it didn't make me my investment back, I decided I will go get a job and work to pay that money back. Because I thought, no matter what, I'm a worker. I'll do it. I'll make it happen, and I'll still have a good attitude, but I won't be super happy in the depths of my soul working for someone.
For me, risk is, again, on the monetary side too. Like, what happens if it were to fail? So I put this money out, nothing happens with it. I've failed on it now.
Failed. That's what it was. Huge.
It would be a failure. And nobody likes to be a failure. I don't think anybody likes that piece, right? So the fear of failure is definitely what if you can't do it? What if you don't know how? What if you don't align yourself even with the right people to have those pieces? And what if you let the people who count on you down, right? So if you're the only moneymaker in a house, or if your roof over your head is very important, all of these things can fly through your head as well. But, as I've moved forward, even through this business, I think my outlook on these things has changed quite a bit since the beginning. Because my first one was like absolutely failure, and the money piece. I always was very nervous about money. Well, I'm still frugal, but I'm always very nervous about money because I never want to be in a position that I've been in before, where dirt, poor, and you don't have any, right? It's a scary place to be. So when I've switched it up a little bit now, is I do know that piece that I am a worker. Yeah. I know I'd always make it happen in one way or another. I'd never be destitute. I would never leave my kid without a home. I would never do those pieces. So there's a lot that's kind of switched up in that. But the fear of failing is a huge fear for letting down the people who believed in you, or the people that have invested in you, or anything else along those lines. But again, when you really care about something, you don't let it fail. You just you keep moving forward no matter what, and then you don't ever have to worry about that piece. And even if it didn't work out, it doesn't mean it's a fail. It means it didn't work out the way you thought it was going to, but you still bring everything with you to the next place. I mean, we had one guy who took the certification, finished the certification, was like, I know what I'm going to do now with my life. We're like, fantastic. I'm going to own my own hot tub company. We're like, okie dokie.
I'm glad you took the course.
Yeah, that wasn't the way we expected you to go, having horses and all, but it helped get him to the next place. So no, there's no chance he would ever say that this was a waste.
Oh no, he says the opposite.
It's what brought him to the next level in his life, that he was able to know what he wanted to do in a different way. So it still may not even be what you look like, but it's still the stepping stone that gets you to where you need to be at the same time.
And I think sometimes, again, what's the worst thing that can happen? Sometimes pride gets in the way of asking someone to help you in that investment. And I know for myself, I don't like asking anybody. I mean, my mom, because, well, my mom is just so great. Yeah. But I remember even when I someone told me about this Weekenders business. And Weekenders was kind of like, a Party Light, Tupperware, Mary Kay. It was a direct sales organization, but you were selling clothes. And I didn't see me ever doing that, but I needed to make money. I was a single mom, and I thought, this is a way, because I could work around my girls as I'm raising them. So I can still do so many things. Yes, and schedules. And I remember a fellow in our life, and I'll give him credit, Al Bertram, and he was dating the lady who introduced me to Weekenders. He wanted me to do it so bad, he offered to pay for the investment, and then I could just pay him back. And I'm like, no, I would never do that. Well, I changed my mind because I thought, no, I know me. what's the worst thing that can happen? Again, if I now borrow from somebody, which is really hard to do, now I'm what's the word?
In debt.
Accountable.
Oh.
I'm okay in debt, but
shows my fear.
yeah.
In debt. My
I'm
God.
accountable now to another living human being. And I promise, even if it wouldn't have worked in Weekenders, again, it would come back to I will find a way, clean toilets, do whatever, because I will pay that human back. Because for them to believe in me enough to give me the investment that I needed to actually start my own business in Weekenders, it's like so overwhelmingly beautiful that I know me enough to know that it just would not ever go to waste. And this guy was paid back. And because of Weekenders, it even brought me to the path of this equine assisted learning business. So it's all cool.
It's amazing how life works out sometimes, but it's you can't be on the train of it all if you don't buy the ticket to the train. You got to still make an action or take an action to be able to move that direction. And that's sometimes the scariest part, is taking that first step. But once you're on the road, it kind of, because you have such a drive for it and a passion, it kind of becomes easy. It's not, it's not.
No business is easy.
It's not easy, but it becomes easy because you love it. So you're going to do the things that it takes to get it rolling. When we first started, we did clean toilets. We clean houses.
Literally.
We did literally. You do what you got to do and you believe in something. And then when we figured it out, now we are an international business and we're incredibly proud of everything that we've been able to do. But if the action hadn't started, none of this would have ever been, right? If there was ever too much fear to start in the first place, it never would have been. For you to have the initial investment and put all those pieces in it, for me to take the leap to say, yeah, I'm going to go on something that's not necessarily the 9 to 5 job that's super secure and everything else. There's a risk associated with everything, but it ended up being so worthwhile that, could you imagine if we never took the risk?
It'd be the saddest that you would never know how great your life could have been. Like you just don't. And I'm telling you, people, if you're sitting on the fence and you're wondering what is the worst thing that can happen, no matter what, you belong to a beautiful family of like-minded people who are cheering each other on. We help you to get that work going, not by our action, your action, but helping you to know each step of the way what to do. Like it's, to me, truly one of the safest investments you'll ever make into yourself, because you got the whole family, the whole herd behind you, helping you, because the humans, this people, they need us. There's so very few of us in this industry, and humans out there are needing it for their mental health, for so many components with anxiety and not even being connected to themselves. You can be a part of that journey with purpose. And make sure, even if what's the worst thing that can happen, the second note should be, what's the best thing that's going to happen? So make those two things. We hope that this has helped, because you could go on forever about what's the worst thing that can happen, but we don't want to do that. We just wanted to help you get connected to yourself and really feel yourself. What's your heart and you yearning for? Because you can have it. Because why can't you have it?
Why not you?
Why not you?